Number 4, sodium metal reacts with water to produce sodium hydroxide according to the following equation. So again, I'm giving you the balanced chemical equation here, lucky you. How many grams of sodium hydroxide are produced if 20 grams of sodium react with excess oxygen? Now, I want to introduce this word to you right here, excess. Okay, it's not crazy super important right now, but next section it will. I'm actually telling you that there is more than enough oxygen to react with this much sodium. Okay, so get used to this word excess. It means there's extra left over. So how many grams of sodium hydroxide? So this is going to be a mass, unknown, produced if this mass of known reacts. Okay, so this is a mass-to-mass conversion. So we're going to be busting out 3 conversion factors to make this happen. We're going to be using the molar mass of sodium hydroxide and the molar mass of sodium metal to do this. So before I get started and actually setting up the conversion factors, let's actually calculate the molar masses to start. For sodium hydroxide, we got a sodium coming in at 22.99 grams per mole. That also has an oxygen and a hydrogen. Again, I'm getting these masses from the periodic table, so you can look them up as well. There's just one of each, so let's add them up. Come over here, calculator, help me out. 22.99 plus 16 plus hydrogen. So, ooh, 40. Now, because I'm adding these values, each of them have 2 decimal places past the decimal, and so my answer is going to have that as well. And so there's my molar mass for NaOH. Sodium metal, just looking at the periodic table, sodium's coming in at 22.99, so that one's actually pretty darn easy, 22.99. So I have my molar masses. That's just going to make it easy and more fluid once I actually get into writing my conversion factors without me having to stop and change gears. Again, trying to make it as simple on you as you're working these quiz and test problems as possible, so you don't have to start and stop a particular line of reasoning. So let's start with the known. We have grams of sodium metal. We are going to need to convert out of sodium metal into, grams of sodium metal using the molar mass of sodium. Then we are going to go from talking about sodium to talking about sodium hydroxide using the mole ratio. And then we're going to have to convert out of the number of moles of sodium hydroxide into the mass of sodium hydroxide using the molar mass of sodium hydroxide. And we should end up in grams of sodium hydroxide. Let's see if this works out. So I'll cancel grams of sodium that way. I'll go into moles of sodium that way. Well, I definitely need to cancel moles of sodium and go into moles of sodium hydroxide, and then out of moles of sodium hydroxide and into grams of sodium hydroxide. Well, those grams will cancel, those moles will cancel, and those moles will cancel, leaving me only grams of sodium hydroxide. So that means that we're looking pretty darn good. Now let's start plugging in numbers. Question tells me 20.0 grams to start with. I already looked up on the periodic table that 1 mole of sodium has a mass of 22.99 grams. The mole ratio is 2 moles of sodium hydroxide to 2 moles of sodium. And the mass of 1 mole of sodium hydroxide, like I've already calculated, is 40. Now, before we get started, I'm going to report my final answer with 3 significant figures because that's what the question actually has me start with. So I'm going to go 3 significant figures. All right, calculator, you're back up. Treat us well. So 20.0 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 40, and then divide by 22.99, divide by 2, divide by 1. Let's see. Okay, so I want 3 significant figures. This is showing me a bunch of extra. So that would be my third significant figure. That 9 is actually telling me to roll that up to an 8. So that is what I will do. So I will report 34.8 grams of sodium hydroxide. 34.8 grams. Right? That is how much sodium hydroxide is produced if 20 grams of sodium metal reacts with excess oxygen.